he had me on a low calorie diet. So I look at her and saying, okay, did you feel good? And they're like, no, I didn't feel good, but I looked good. I said, well, are you going to do it again? Are you going to go back and do it again? Yeah, I might go back and do it again. And I'm like, oh my God.
People don't know that not feeling good is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 132 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is your daily dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. Today and tonight, if you're in Ireland, we have once again Paleo Lola and Mark Ennis joining us from Texas and from Ireland, respectively. In case you didn't know, Coach Isabel Paleo Lopez is a meat-based lifter and a lifestyle coach. Helps women look better in their 40s than they did in their 20s. Yeah, it's possible, and yeah, she helps people do it. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, you should go hit her up. She was kind enough to share her whole story and approach to nutrition a few weeks ago on our show, episode 119. Since then, we've remained in touch and very, very good friends. Recently, we had a consultation adjusting her macros to further optimize her physique for her own exciting business plans this year. And I would say that her results lately are even more exciting than that. So, not to put down your business plans, but I'm just talking about.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
All right. So we're going to start off recapping that and fill in Coach Mark. From there, we're all going to discuss how and if anything needs to change from her macro split moving forward, without having to resort to things like cutting calories, increased cardio, things like that. So we're going to dive into that topic first. Lola, welcome back. Saw your last Instagram post, and that hit home on something with me that I've learned from Mark over the last few months. When you hit a weight loss plateau, everyone's knee-jerk reaction is to eat less and move more. And we all know this is terrible advice, even on a contest prep, because there's pretty much always like a hormonal aspect or a lifestyle or a diet or a simple dietary change that can be made to further progress body composition goals than jumping like right into starvation mode or something. So before we start, Lola, would you be able to elaborate on the results that you've been experiencing on your reverse diet and kind of how that's going?
Sure. So I had never before done a reverse diet until 8 months ago. And I had ceased to see any body composition changes, good or bad. It was just kind of like no weight gained, no weight lost, sitting comfortable in one place. But I really wanted to improve my body composition further. So as you know, I read a Robert Sykes bodybuilding book.
Oh, you mean this book that I have right here that's like totally covered in nothing but highlighter and stuff?
Yes, the one right behind your head too.
That one too. Yeah, that's a signed copy.
The same one. So I read that book.
We had him on the show a couple days ago, and I was like, bro, I need to have something back here that says keto brick on it or something. And he was like, how about that book that I sent you? And I was like, oh yeah, duh. So that's going behind us. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. So yeah, I read his book and I started implementing the reverse diet portion of it. And I have had some really great results, to be totally honest. At first, I saw like inches lost and weight lost right off the bat. And I felt really, really great. And there was times where I would just kind of like get stuck or maybe even feel a little bit, fuller and more, it was just swollen, I guess, than usual. But what I did was that I would sit there for a little while and let my body adjust to those new macros. And sure enough, I started getting back to normal again, and then I would increase a little bit more. Recently, in around, I think it was beginning of February, I did an increase and my weight shot up like 5 pounds. And I was really stressing out about that. And I couldn't understand why. I didn't really want to do a cut. And so that's when we talked about, another idea of what we could do. So we kind of went into finding my protein threshold is what we're doing right now, right? And so since then, I've been increasing my protein 5 grams a week and decreasing my fat 5 grams a week. And I'm still in ketosis, which is freaking amazing. I really didn't think I was going to be at 160 grams of protein and still in ketosis. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you're at phase 2 right now, which is increasing your protein threshold. And that's what,
Right.
that's what Mark's doing too, because you're what, bro, 7-8 months out from your show, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more than that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got your protein up to how high?
I'm at 160 grams of protein right now.
Okay. And then how much do you weigh again?
166 right now.
Cool. So she definitely doesn't need to go any higher on protein, huh, Mark?
And what is she looking to do at the moment? Is she looking to build muscle or lose body fat?
Well, I guess do you want to continue and kind of go over what your results have been the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. So in December, I did an InBody, and I was sitting at 31% body fat, and I can't really remember how much muscle I had on me. But last week on Thursday, I did another InBody, and I was down to 29% body fat, and I had put, since December to now, it said 5 pounds of muscle. Mm-hmm. So it looks like I'm doing both simultaneously pretty much, which is great. That's the goal at the end of the day. And I have been working really hard at building muscle, which is what I want. But with summer coming, I also don't want to be feeling uncomfortable and feeling puffy or, whatever the excess calories might put me at. So I do want to do a little bit of a cut, maybe for the next couple of months. And then once fall comes around again, I'll go back into my reverse or maintenance. Awesome. Is what I'm thinking.
Okay. So you're still building. So we're still working on building muscle right now, losing fat, and trying to optimize being in ketosis, because clearly your body is a beast at doing both at the same time.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was thinking earlier, it doesn't really bother me if I'm not in ketosis. It's more like an experiment right now. Like, how far can I take it before I'm not in ketosis anymore? But at the same time, I do really enjoy the benefits of being in ketosis, energy wise and mental focus, clarity, all that kind of stuff. So
awesome. Okay, so you're 160 protein, 170 fat, and 166 pounds. So my suggestion from here would be, don't rock the boat, and I would just say keep doing this until you stop seeing results. Mark's been cutting in and out, everybody, connection issues, but we're on opposite ends of the planet. Give us a break. Sorry.
Just give me a brief rundown, really quick, Colt, of what she just said there. Like, she's trying to build muscle, or she's trying to do body fat?
She's primarily focused at the moment on building muscle right now.
Okay, yeah. So I would say, between 160, but I would definitely increase that probably about another 20 or even 30 grams, because I'd be looking for at least maybe about 1.2 to 1.3 per pound of body weight if the goal is to build muscle. If the goal is not to build muscle and just to maintain, then I would leave it at 1 gram per pound.
Okay.
I think a higher dose of protein should always be the objective when you're trying to build muscle. So we can definitely increase it by just probably about 0.2 per gram.
That's kind of
so I was
Sorry, Lola.
Sorry, I was going to go up another 5 grams starting Monday. Do you think I should not go as fast? Maybe like increase it by less than 5?
So when it comes to a reverse diet, I understand the science of it, but this whole thing of, like, put it this way, your body doesn't know like percentages. Your body only knows mass. So this comes back to the whole calorie thing. Your body. So you can basically eat and maintain results. So as long as you're hitting your overall mass in protein, which is 160 grams.
Yeah, he's cutting in and out again. Sorry about that. So what he's saying, Lola, is your lean body mass is probably like around 130 to 140 grams. That's the rock bottom. That's as low as you want to go for your protein to maintain it when you're both Mark and even Robert Sykes are fans of increasing your protein as you get up to about a gram per pound of body weight.
Right.
And especially if you're in ketosis right now, then I'm not worried about that kicking out of ketosis anytime soon. So if I were you, I would actually bump it up to 170 and just go with a 1-to-1 ratio for a while and ride that out for a week and see what that does. Hey Mark, you cut out there for a minute. Sorry, bro, but I saw where you were going with that, and I just kind of paraphrased and summarized what what kind of what the direction that I knew you were going to go with it. So my suggestion was for her to be at 170 grams of protein right now, thinking that the 10 grams certainly isn't going to be enough to kick her out of ketosis, and there's no way it's going to be stored as body fat, and just keep the fat the same right now. Let her body adjust to that for a little bit, and then I think any more than that, I don't know. We should maybe touch base a week or two after that, and then go, okay, are you recovering fast enough, or are you do you feel like you need more energy, and kind of reassess then, because we're lacking in recovery. That might indicate that we need more protein, and then as a rule of thumb, just kind of generally, if you're feeling sluggish and like you don't have enough energy, then that's the time to up the fats typically.
I'm feeling pretty good with the 170 right now, fat. So I don't foresee that. Like, if I'm not dropping it, I don't foresee my energy dropping either,
Yeah. And as long as you're not getting sloppy looking, then you can pretty much keep getting away with pushing the food. I mean, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I don't look sloppy at all. If anything, I actually look a lot leaner now, and I'm eating well over my calorie intake, and I'm focusing on pretty much the mass of the food. So I'm not focusing on energy in and energy out. I'm focusing on how much I weigh, on my improvement, on my ellipse improvement, and when they are, then I just gonna push the food up. So I'm giving my body the food, the adequate food it needs to keep on improving every single day.
Yeah, I see that. I have noticed my lifts this last week improved quite a bit. So, and I went up 5 grams in protein. So yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's a good idea just to keep on pushing the food up until you get to a situation where you feel uncomfortable, you have gut issues, and you don't look right. And if you feel like you are having digestive issues straight away, well, that's a sign then the protein is too high. But if you're not having any inflammation or any gut issue whatsoever, then I would say pretty much then everything's sweet. Just keep moving it up.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds good to me too.
Because if you are weighing 130, then I would say someone for you, I would say you'd be looking at between maybe 170 to 180 grams of protein a day if you're looking to build muscle mass. So then you'd be looking at 1.2 per pound of body weight. So that would bring you up to around 180, 190 eventually. And your body will be able to digest that food, no problem. But whether I would say then just keep doing what you're doing at the moment, just increase it every week if you feel comfortable doing it that way. But I think eventually you'll be at about 180, 190, and that'll be your sticking point then going forward.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. I think I can do that. I'm not going to jump all the way to, I don't feel that I could handle jumping up 10 grams in 1 week, but I could definitely do it 5 at a time. Yeah.
And the most important part is though, if your weight does increase, don't be worrying about that because that's muscle mass. Your body's telling you, listen, I'm growing, I'm getting stronger. You know, I mean, if you're getting leaner and you can see your abs and you can see muscle definition, but the number on the scales is increasing, that to me is a good sign. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be too worried about if the scales is increasing. I'd only be worried if your midsection is getting bigger, or if you're starting getting sloppier, or you're getting any health issues.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I do. I mean, I guess my midsection is the part that where I notice it the most when I guess when I do an increase or when I'm starting to retain some fat or something, that's where I notice it the most. But I've also noticed recently, like more muscle, not so much definition, because I don't see abs on myself. But I do feel the muscle in my abs when I try to sit up or anything like that. I can immediately feel the muscles engage and everything. So I know that, good stuff's happening, Colt, I think he's frozen.
Oh, yep, he's frozen again.
I'm talking to myself.
I think we pretty much wrapped up that topic, though. I mean, we know what to do for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Mark, for all that. You're a stud.
Thank you, Mark. You're awesome.
I got a question for both of you, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
We're all carnivore coaches. We all coach the carnivore diet. Some people are ready to jump all in like I am and go, okay, I'm going to quit my old way of lifestyle and make a whole bunch of lifestyle changes at once because I'm like an all or nothing guy, right?
That's me.
Right. And people know that if people sign up for a plan or like hire me as a coach or Robert Sykes as a coach, like they know that we live this lifestyle all the time and that people kind of expect to go in cold turkey. I'm coaching 2 or 3, I think 3 people now on paleo diets because they're just not ready to make that transition all the way from a standard American diet to a full-blown meat and salt diet, like all of us do, basically. So when it comes to making that transition, I guess, Lola, would it be okay with if we started with you? Like, how do you what are some of the mindset tips, hacks? I mean, like anything to help somebody make that transition from a standard American diet to a zero carb diet and not I guess consume carbs too long to where they're not getting fat adapted and defeating the process. That's the only problem that I'm trying to work around right now.
Oh, I see. Well, the majority of my clients, they don't want to go into a full-blown carnivore diet. To be honest, they want, I don't know, they seem to want to do the transition slowly, if ever get to fully carnivore, really. They mostly want to do like paleo. But I do like using paleo as the stepping stone, right? And then after a while of doing paleo, we start moving into keto. And then from there, we go into carnivore if they still want that. For the most part, I don't feel that my clients are ready to jump into a fully keto or fully carnivore diet. Not that they're not ready, like I would be glad to help them do it right off the bat, but they don't want to. So I do coach them through the paleo diet first, but I don't coach a high carb paleo diet. It's like very, just green veggies, mostly maybe fruits, like berries and things like that. But I don't push a high carb paleo diet. So I think if we're working together and they're doing it the way that I'm teaching them, even as we approach going, like they'll go into ketosis sometimes without even really trying to, because even the veggies are still pretty low carb in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way as you. I try to push them towards replacing those carbs with better sources of carbs, even up fats in their carbs and protein. And half the time they lose weight doing that, it's kind of a win-win because they're eating more, they're more satisfied, and then it's just to go from there to carnivore. It's like just lose the sweet potatoes. You're probably sick of them after a couple weeks anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't really feel like I need to push them to do it. It's just kind of like if you're doing a paleo diet the way I'm coaching them to do it, they'll be there anyway. I struggle with most people in their protein intake, right? As almost everybody is under eating protein. So it's really one of the things that I have to work on them with is like constantly pushing them to increase the amount of protein that they eat. I'm surprised at the amount of people that when they first start working with me, they're like, oh yeah, I eat like 1 egg for breakfast. And I'm just like, how are you eating 1 egg for breakfast? Like make that 6, And so I've had some pretty good results when they listened, but for a lot of people struggle to eat more protein. So that's what I have to, one of the big things that I really have to work with my clients on. Is like increasing protein. And then they're like, I'm still hungry. And so I'm like, I want you to eat when you're hungry, for sure. I said, but increase your protein. If you're eating more protein, you're not going to feel hungry as often. Like this is, I struggle to eat as much as I eat because of that. So, that's one of the things is like, okay, eat more protein and everything else is going to get easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just I want to ask Mark you the same thing too, but I've noticed that if I hit my protein requirements first, I'm way more in tune with my satiety signals, and I can almost immediately after that identify how much fat I need after hitting my protein requirements. So yeah, thanks for that. Mark, you were going to say something, bro.
No, just for me, like from where I'm from, like practically nobody in this country does keto. Nobody. And like we have like a thing all over here called the keto police, where if you mention the word keto, you get bombarded, you get hated. So over here, everybody's fixated on the calorie thing, the calories in, calories out. There's only a small, literally a tiny percentage over here that would believe in what I believe in. It's very, very frustrating because the amount of stuff you would see on social media that basically go against what we believe in. They would believe in, like, say, sugary snacks, protein yogurts that are literally loaded with sugar. Even and all they're focusing on is one thing and one thing only, and that's calories. And people can be on a standard 2,000 calorie meal, and you can explain to them the reason. Okay, not all calories are equal. So basically, just in this country, a lot of people are against keto. That's the bottom line. Everybody doesn't like keto. Nobody just to have a diet of just eating meat all the time. They think it's all about like having like a balance of food of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And if anything, fats are on the bottom of the list. So carbohydrates and proteins are pretty much balanced, maybe 40-40, and then 10% probably fats. And it's when you try and explain to people, okay, listen, by you decreasing your fats, this is the reason why your hormones are all over the place. But they're so fixated on what's going on social media. Like if you look on social media in this country, everybody does the same thing. Everybody just focus on calories in, calories out, look at the labels, all that stuff. And then it's very, very hard for me then to try and get as many clients as I possibly can, because if they see somebody with a huge following that are getting people's results and they see the weight loss coming off them, but when I take them on and I say, well, listen, first of all, you're eating way too less. And they're like, but I want to lose weight. And they're like, yeah. And I'll ask them, okay, how many calories are you on at the moment? And they'll say to me, oh, Mark, I'm on around 1,200 calories at the moment. And I'm like, oh my God, 1,200 calories. Like, first of all, how do you know you're actually eating 1,200 calories? And they're like, okay, but I'm using my watch. I have a tracker on my watch. That's what tells me. Okay, and I'm saying to me, okay, how much exercise are you doing a day? Oh, I'm going to the gym 6 times a week. I'm going for an hour a day. I'm like, oh my God. I said, I'm asking myself, okay, how do you feel? And they're like, I feel terrible, but I look great.
Yeah.
Skinny.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy. That's crazy.
Bro, it's infuriating, isn't it? It's just
it's terrible.
I swear, you wonder why online coaches get such a bad rap and we make such a bad name for ourselves, because 99% of the coaches, all they know how to do is, okay, eat less and move more, and you're going to lose weight, and you're going to get closer to your goal. Yeah, okay, that'll work for a month or something, and you're going to be losing weight, and now your hormones are out of whack. Now you effed up your thyroid. You might have an eating disorder. It's that we have to go away with the calories. We have to we have to look at the science.
You know, and I honestly, I could send you guys 3 influencers right now that have well over 1 million followers on Instagram and on TikTok, and they sprout such bullshit every single day. And it's amazing how many people are bombarded into this. And I'm looking at them saying, like, I'm trying my hardest every single day to try and educate as many people as possible. But I'm literally a small fish in a big pond.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very frustrating. extremely frustrating, because we know as coaches that what we do, what we believe in is the way forward.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no reason why there's absolutely no reason why anybody should have carbohydrate in their diet. Nobody should have carbohydrate in their diet. We all know that.
I agree.
But it's amazing how many people think that they can still have a balanced lifestyle from Monday to Friday, and then come Saturday and Sunday, they can go out for a few drinks, they can eat rubbish food, and then come back Monday, they feel like shit, and they'll start the whole week all over again.
That's horrible. That's like literally the worst thing a person can do. And let me tell you, I was on that train for many years, you know, the weekend off train, which, I mean, I still don't work out on the weekends, but my diet on the weekends is on point with the rest of the week, because I got tired of having to start every weekend you put on 5 pounds, take them off again by Friday, and then put them on again by Sunday.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, who wants that? Who wants to do that? It's no.
Yeah.
But not only that though, the mental aspect when it comes back to Monday.
Yeah.
You're in such a shitty mood when it comes to Monday. It's like
tired.
You wake up in the morning, you're not in the mood for going to work, you're very moody, you're giving out to everybody, and it's just because of your shitty habits.
You know, we see people on the street often. On the street, people working at stores, or, you know, the air conditioning man, or, you know, those people. And you can see them, and you know that they feel like shit. You could tell that they feel like shit, that they're exhausted from getting up in the morning, that they're exhausted going to work, that they probably aren't even thinking clearly. And it makes me feel so bad, but I know that it's just their diet, the shitty diet that they have, and then lack of sleep, probably scrolling all night. And you're like, how can they even do their jobs?
And do you ever notice a difference? Do you ever notice a difference when people are on a really, really bad diet? They're very, very aggressive, extremely aggressive. If you have a chat with them, they're always how can I explain it? They're just they're straight to the point. Their tone of voice is very, 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 very heavy. You can see they're mentally exhausted. Whereas because we look after ourselves properly, we have more energy. We feel good. And that's every single day. We don't get stressed.
No.
Our anxiety is okay. Our depression is okay. But when you look at the world now, there's an awful lot of anxiety going on at the moment, depression as well. And people think that this is down to like the economy, where people are losing their jobs, but it's more than that. It's more because like you control every day what goes into your mouth. You've got control of that. Nobody forces you to do something you don't want to do. You've got control. You walk into the kitchen, you've got a choice either to walk into the kitchen, open the fridge, have a bar of chocolate, or have some meat. It's completely up to you. You make that choice. So when I hear people saying to me, like, I'm mentally depressed, I'm going through a really, really bad time at the moment, I'm saying, so, okay, what are you doing at the moment? Tell me what you're doing. Are you training? Are you eating properly? And most of the time they'll always say to you, no, I eat shit every day.
Yeah.
And then you're literally saying, okay, well, what have you done in the past? Oh, I had a PT before. He had me on a low calorie diet. So I looking at it and saying, okay, did you feel good? And they're like, no, I didn't feel good, but I looked good. I said, well, are you going to do it again? Are you going to go back and do it again? Yeah, I might go back and do it again. And I'm like, oh my God.
You know what it is also? I think that one of the things too is that people don't know that not feeling good is not normal. You know what I mean? It's like you grow up and slowly over time, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20s, you kind of start feeling bad all the time, right? And then you just assume that that's part of life. And so they don't realize that they could feel better.
Hey everybody, Coach Colt here. Just a couple quick things. First one is I'm so sorry about the audio quality on this one. I did my best to edit it out the best that I could and to make sure that everything was still flowing properly. So if you're listening, you shouldn't have too much of an issue there, at least hopefully not. And then on the video, I totally took pieces of food and like videos of food and put it over the top. So you should be square there too. Okay. Podcast review of the week is from Jules. This is on iTunes. Thank you so much for saying this. She goes, awesome podcast and genuine host. 5 stars. There is so much dogma and clickbaity stuff in the podcast world when it comes to the fitness and nutrition space. This is the complete opposite. This is the place to come for all different points of view and well-researched information. Thanks for the good work you are doing in this space. Awesome. Jules, God bless you. Thanks so much for that. Normally, this is a time where I would say, hey, shoot me over your shipping address and I'll send you some salt because we're shipping out salt this month. Say that 10 times fast. But we totally already had that conversation. So salt's on its way. Enjoy it. Let me know how it goes, please. And I'm going to pass it over to Taylor to say a couple quick things. Then we'll get back into the interview with Lola and Mark. Thanks, everybody. God bless and have a good one.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
It's just very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
When you see so many people that are listening to all this rubbish about diets and about calories, and because as we know now in the last couple of weeks since we've been listening to Bart K in the last couple of weeks, we know now that when it comes to calories, the body doesn't know anything about how many calories you eat on a daily basis. It has no clue. The only thing the body knows is how much mass you're carrying. It's all about mass in and mass out. So when you look at the whole calorie aspect, there's absolutely no way you can track a calorie. You know what I mean? There's absolutely none. And then if you're focusing on calories for the rest of your life, mentally that's going to destroy you.
Yeah.
It's gonna honestly, it'll destroy you. Nobody wants to walk into a shop and say, right, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that because it has this amount of calories and or that amount of calories. I mean, wow. Are you gonna be like that for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
And then when you ask them, like, okay, are you eating just because you're watching your calorie intake, or do you want to eat and be full all the time? And they're like, no, I just want to watch my calorie intake. And I'm like, okay, you really are brainwashed.
Yeah.
You really are. You're listening to the wrong people in the industry. That's the problem. You need to listen to other people. You need to listen. You need to go on to podcasts. You need to listen to our podcasts. You need to be educated around food, and you shouldn't be afraid of food. And you should also not be afraid of putting on muscle, because I think when it comes to women, especially when you mention the word building muscle, they're like, oh my God, no, I don't want to build muscle because I don't look like a man. If I end up putting on muscle mass, then the number on the scales is going to increase. So it's all about just trying to educate these people as much as possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
100%. Robert, I asked Robert what the symptoms were of over consuming sodium, and I wanted to test it, and so he was like, yeah, water retention, inflammation, blah blah blah, like the normal stuff, and I was like, okay, and so I did, and I gained 3 pounds overnight just by basically doubling my sodium intake and not changing anything else in my diet whatsoever. Bam, 3 pounds up the next day, and then back to normal today, 196.6.
Just salt?
Yeah. Just went, and I went over. I went way overboard, like way more than I intended to, because I wasn't using a grinder. I was just using the big chunks of a Makai Cure. Makai Cure. I don't even know how it's pronounced, Makai or Makai. But Celtic Sea Salt sources it directly out of Hawaii, and it's my favorite flavor. Best tasting salt. It's loaded with magnesium. But it's really easy to overdo it if you don't have a grinder. And so, by the end of it, I was just like so salted out. And I'm like, I'm just going to go a day with way less salt.
And how did you feel besides, like the water?
What's that?
Besides the water retention, like, did you feel like, did you get a headache or like cotton mouth or anything like that?
No, it was just gross. And it was a lot of salt, and it just kind of messed up my, my not satiety signals, but I go by intuition for water and electrolytes right now, because I'm not on a competition prep. So it just kind of screwed me up the next day, and I didn't really know if I should have more water or more electrolytes, or kind of where I was at in my training. But 2 days later, I'm just back to normal. So
that's good. So let me ask you something. Do you drink LMNT? Do you drink LMNT?
LMNT, however you however you call it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, okay, so I'm a businessman, right? So like all these supplements, like they're and all the leading electrolyte supplements that are kind of popular in the keto community, LMNT, Re-Lyte, I just personally use Celtic Sea Salt products, and I get all of my electrolytes just naturally from that. But yeah, we never were able to land a business deal with LMNT, just because we can't sell their stuff through our website. Our business models just basically aren't really that compatible with each other. So I use what we sell and who we do business with. But
okay.
But yeah, LMNT though, we did go through like a giant sample box when we were talking with them before. They're all really, really good, especially the chocolate one. But yeah, no, it's a great product. It's a really, really good product.
Right. So I have a story about that, because I've been taking it for a while, and I really enjoy it. But I hadn't bought any since August, right? So I went several months without buying any. I was just kind of mixing my own electrolyte drink, right? And little by little, like, my recovery started just going downhill. I didn't connect it with that at first. Mainly, I guess the magnesium, like the electrolyte imbalance was starting to kick in, I think. And so I went several months, and then around January, I just started feeling really not well. This, January, February, I wasn't feeling great. My heart rate was just really high all the time. Even my resting heart rate was like at 69 during sleep. And so that wasn't normal. I wasn't recovering well. I was not feeling good at all. And so I'm here, doing research on it, seeing what I could figure out, what might be going on. And I happened to read a tiny little reference towards electrolyte imbalance being the possible cause for like my arrhythmias, right? And so I was like, that's crazy. Could that be that I'm just not, I was mixing my own electrolyte drink mix, but maybe not properly. I don't know. And so I ordered another box of LMNT, and I'm not kidding you, within 2 days, my heart rate was down to 50 resting heart rate. Oh. And I was back to normal recovery, and my sleep. So my sleep was also suffering, and I'm back to sleeping through the night, like, amazing. So I really think it's a great product, but it's not so much the product. The product's great, but I guess it's that their combination of electrolytes just really works with me. And I've noticed I need like 3 of those little packs a day to really be like optimal.
Yeah.
the next day.
So,
You know what I mean?
knowing you and the way that you train, that doesn't surprise me. I go pretty high in the electrolytes myself, and I just always I feel like I need them. I really, really do. And then I start to get brain fog kind of like halfway through the day. And what's everybody's knee jerk reaction? Oh, go to Starbucks and get a freaking
Coffee.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's you probably need some more water. You probably need some electrolytes. I don't know. Maybe you need to take a nap.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nap and electrolytes are probably the best thing.
Mm.
The two best things. So
Yeah. Cool. Do either of you okay, so I'm kind of noticing that, at least with our clientele, I don't know if you're experiencing this, that the two biggest pills for someone to swallow, if they're like, hey, I want your kind of results, but man, this scares me and that scares me. The biggest fear of man is the fear of change, right? And so if someone's going to have to make a drastic lifestyle change, usually that diet is unattractive in their eyes. If they come to us and they're used to eating meat and salt and everything, great. It's like it's like we've been best friends our entire lives because we relate on so many levels, right? When someone's like, okay, I'm thinking about eating that way, but I'm not 100% sure. It seems like the biggest hurdles are letting go of carbs. Just like the emotional fact that you're not going to be eating carbs. That's a tough hurdle for some people to get past. And then the other one is calories and just being okay with not having a clue how many calories they're consuming. So we've transitioned everybody over, with one exception, to not having a clue how many calories there are. I don't even know how many calories there are. If they ever want to know, we can do the math really quick. I'm just wondering if you have any tips and tricks of helping somebody emotionally past those points of just being okay with not focusing on calories, or helping them change their focus to a more healthy, intuitive approach to eating. And the other thing too.
Yeah. So for me, that's the reason why I don't like going cold turkey.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my clients are in that situation. They have this emotional eating protocol where their food is just it's either their enemy, or they get so emotional about food. So if I was to come in there and say, well, listen, this is what we need to do. We're just going to eat meat, and we're just going to have meat and salt. They'll turn around and say to me, listen, you're mad, you're nuts. It's just not going to work. I have to ease them into what I see necessary. And eventually they will see exactly what I see. You know what I mean? So sometimes it could take 2 weeks. It could take a month. It could take 2 months. But if I do it on their terms, first of all, they will learn from that. They will understand the reason why they're now eating more of a keto carnivore protocol, and they understand that this is pretty much what they're going to be doing for the rest of their life. Because if you're going from a normal balanced diet, which is where you're adding in carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, it's going to be very, very hard to transition from that straight into like just eating, like, say, 1 or 2 meals a day and just like having 1 or 2 foods a day. It's very, very hard, especially in this country, extremely hard. And I've seen it with a lot of people. So I find like, okay, once I've had a read of the screening form, and I say, right, okay, this person has health issues. In my mind, I'm saying, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. But instead of taking them on and saying, okay, listen, I'm going to put you straight into a carnivore diet, I'm going to put you straight into a keto diet, I know straight away that it's just not going to work for them. They need to be taught the process. They need to be taught that, yes, I will be able to eventually move into this, but it's going to take a bit of time. Now, don't get me wrong. I do have a few clients that I could say, well, listen, I think the best diet for you is probably going to be the keto diet. It's going to be the carnivore diet. We can add in just meat and salt, or we can start adding in some more keto-friendly foods like avocados and stuff like that, and it suits their lifestyle. So for me, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to focus on their energy levels. So I'm saying, right, okay, we can get better energy from our fats. We don't actually need carbohydrates in our diet to get the energy, and you're going to feel a lot better. So if I can make you feel better by just taking out those carbohydrates and adding in the fats, that's going to be a win.
Yeah.
You're going to feel so much better. But then they'll come back to me and say, well, listen, Mark, hasn't fats got more calories? And this is where I need to explain the calorie situation. So this is when I need to really dial down and say, well, listen, forget about calories. Don't be worrying about energy in and energy out anymore. Let's just focus on mass. Let's focus on every time your body improves, we need to increase the food. That's it. That's all you need to worry about. And if we do that by a meat-based diet, you can pretty much get away with eating a lot of food when it comes to the carnivore diet, and you'll still be able to lose weight, and you'll actually be able to look after your health a lot better as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when people ask me like, "Hey, are you on gear?" or "Hey, like, what are your calories?" I'm like, "Look, you eat 400 or 500 grams of fat a day, and tell me what happens to your natural testosterone levels. You eat 400, 500 grams of fat a day while you're in ketosis, and tell me if you gain weight or not." I mean, most people probably will. I burn it off. I'm a little heavier than most people, but as long as you're in ketosis, like, I'm not gonna claim anything that I can't really scientifically prove, but man, being in ketosis, it's like it almost doesn't matter how much fat I eat. It's like I'll get sick and have diarrhea before I actually gain body fat from doing that. And if I'm eating like technically on paper, it's like 4,500 calories a day right now, right? And if I had carbs in my diet, I'd get fat for sure. I've never been able to eat that many calories and not get fat.
And I firmly believe that the way people are eating in this country now, by 2025, there's going to be an awful lot of people walking around with type diabetes.
Oh, already there is everybody walking.
I'm not talking about adults. I'm talking about kids. I mean, the amount of kids that I see walking around every single day, and they can hardly walk up the stairs. And they can hardly walk behind their mothers, and these are only kids. Like, we're talking about nearly 4 or 5 years of age.
Yeah.
So if this child hasn't got a chance, I mean, what are the parents doing? It's just, and this is where it comes down to education. And like, people that know me very, very well, I'm a very, very strict coach. Like, I'll get straight into it. I'll tell them exactly, listen, like, you either do this for you and your family, or otherwise, I can guarantee you, in 2 years' time, you're going to be either in a hospital or you're going to be in a box. And it's as simple as that. And then they're looking at me and saying, well, you can't talk to me that way. And I'm saying to myself, well, I can, because first of all, you came to me. And second of all, you said you want help. So first of all, I'm not here to babysit you. I'm here to get you the result that you want. So if you don't like that, well, then you're better off going with somewhere else. And then most of the people say, well, listen, I would rather go to John down the road that gives me the easy process of just focusing on calories, let me eat whatever I want. And then I'll check back in with this person like 6 months or a year later and ask them, okay, how are you feeling? Mark, I'm actually in a worse spot than what I was the last time I spoke to you. I'm like, well, we could have fixed this program. We could have fixed this a year ago, but you chose to go down the wrong option. So I just find in this country, it's extremely difficult to try and get that point across. It really, it's extremely frustrating because of the social media thing. Social media in this country is huge. The amount of people that sit on social media, look at these gurus, these coaches, these influencers, just giving us the same information every single day. And the worst thing about these videos is every single one of them are identical. And I mean, absolutely identical. Like, there's no application, there's no identity, there's no education. It's just all about one thing. This is how you train. You can have whatever you want. You can have your pizzas, you can have your breads, you can have your sugar at the weekend, you can have your alcohol at the weekend. I'm like, no. And then when you hear people coming back to you, I think Colt had this during the week as well with one of his clients, with one of the doctors. I work with an awful lot of women when it comes to PCOS and health conditions, and they'll always come back to me and say to me, Mark, in order for me to lose weight on PCOS, my doctor's told me that you're not going to be able to do it unless you're on a pill. And I'm like, okay, what we'll do is come on board with me for 3 weeks, just 3 weeks. do exactly what I tell you for 3 weeks. Now, in that 3 weeks, I have them on a strict keto program. Like there's no carbs, no sugar. It's completely eliminated from the diet, completely, right? So I'll take them on 3 weeks later. Their health, their blood markers are perfect, absolutely perfect. Then they'll go back to the doctor. The doctor will then turn around and say, well, listen, no, what you're doing at the moment is not sustainable. You should be having sugar in your diet. You should be having carbohydrates in your diet. But I'm saying to myself, like, I've just literally changed your life in 3 weeks, and you're going to go by what the doctor tells you. And most of them will actually go back and listen to the doctor and not listen to me.
Because doctors are super smart and we're just online coaches. What do we know?
You know what I mean? It's like, wow. He's got an education, a degree in what he does, but what I say is wrong.
Yeah. Nope. That's why I'm afraid to go to the doctor.
The proof's in the science. Here's the problem. Okay, and we all know this. The standard American diet, and if it fits your macros and tracking calories, it's familiar. People are like, oh, it's less intimidating, it's easier to start, and it's sexy. Like you can eat whatever you want and still hit your workout goals. You can do this, bro. I bought into that.
Steak's sexier.
What's that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still think the steak is sexier.
Yeah, exactly. all of us are like, oh no, we'll take the steak every day over whatever you're eating. But
yeah.
But like the general public doesn't see it that way, and we're getting bombarded with all of this propaganda about, oh no, we need to eat more plants, and cows are killing the world because they fart, and it's ruining our ozone layer and stuff. And it's just it's a joke. There's so much misinformation, and every year we get more and more studies, but all the if it fits your macros influencers, they're relying on studies that are 20 and 30 years outdated. That there was never any proof in the first place as to whether calories worked from a body composition perspective, and
doctors don't update their education either. You know, it's like let's say a doctor went to school 20 years ago, you know, whatever they taught him 20 years ago, which here in America, I think they just pretty much teach them how to manage symptoms and give medicine. They don't teach them how to avoid getting sick in the first place. And then, but then years pass, new research comes out. They don't update their education. They just, I mean, very few of them, right? Dr. Ken Berry probably does. There's few doctors out there who take the time to learn the new things and to learn the new, the new discoveries. And those are the doctors who we can turn to for help. But the rest of them don't. They don't take the time to further their knowledge. I think we do more to further our own knowledge than doctors usually do. I mean, I'm constantly reading something new.
Yeah,
trying to make sure that
I learn more from all of my own clients than I do from any actual medical professional. Like women,
that's the way it should be.
Women ages 40 and 60 that eat meat and salt and they're low carb and paleo, been doing this for a long time. They're smart and they have their diet nailed down. And half the time it's just like they need to learn how to train on it to hit their aesthetic goals. But the proof is there. We all see it.
Like I remember just before the Christmas, I was doing this for a long time in this country. And I always believed in the whole keto and carnivore approach. But as I said, in this country, there wasn't much support until I came across an Irish podcast. I'll never forget it. This is around November time. And I remember Robert Sykes was on it. And I listened to the whole thing. And your name came up on it. And I remember then I looked into your name and then I saw so many people on your page that were into keto. And I was like, this is fantastic. Like, I want to really get into this. But I was looking at it and saying, okay, well, all of these people live over in a different country. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm looking at it, I'm saying, like, these guys are like miles ahead of us in regards to education, nutrition. Because when you look at college, especially in this country, when you go to college now, they're always talking about the food pyramid. And when you look at diet and nutrition in this country, It hasn't changed in the last 60 years. It's all the same. Like when I went to college, like say 30 years ago, we learned about the food pyramids. That was it. We learned about the carbohydrates, fiber, protein, fats, all that kind of stuff. When you go to college now, it's the exact same thing. Nothing has changed. Okay, there's nothing around hormonal health. There's nothing around PCOS. There's nothing around carnivore. There's nothing around keto. There's nothing around telling people why you don't actually need carbohydrates for anything, even for performance. You know, I mean, there's no education at all. And it's like, you look at it and you're saying like, okay, well, are we ever going to improve in this country, or is this going to be what we're going to be doing for the rest of our life? And I would love to be that person that changes that in this country, because I know, as I said, from where I stand right now, I can't see it happening in the next 10 years. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
Because if I went out, say 100 people, if I walked outside the door tomorrow and I spoke to 100 people and said, well, listen, guys, what you're doing at the moment is wrong. I'm going to explain to you the reasons why what you're doing is wrong. I guarantee you, after 2 minutes, they will walk away from me, because they're all hook, line, and sinker into if it fits your macros gang, low calorie gang, you know what I mean? Just go to the gym gang, kill yourself gang. It's just like, what are you meant to do?
Totally. You got to meet people where they're at. And Mark, you're a pro at that. Would it be okay if I ran a case study by the two of you and just let me know what your thoughts are, like if you would do anything differently? All right, I'm going to share my screen, which is super sketchy because I don't want to lose Mark again. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep, I can see it. Perfect. Yep.
All right. So if you're listening on audio only, you know, I'm gonna read this off. But yeah, so this is from a consultation earlier this week. This gentleman is 22 years old, and he's going to be doing his first show on July 22nd of this year. It's the one that I'm emceeing and guest posing at. He is 18 weeks out, and we did the math. He's got about 18 pounds to lose. So perfect timing for him to start his competition prep. That'll get him down to 3% body fat. So we'll probably stop shy of there once he's like actually shredded, and probably won't get him quite that lean. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we're a couple weeks out. But he's got an amazing physique. Okay, so he's gone from a standard American diet. He's in college, right? So like just eating like what college kids eat, nothing good. But his pre-workout meal, I have him on about 30 grams of protein pre-workout, 30 grams of protein post-workout, and then he gets all the rest of his protein in at dinner. So, he has about 60 grams of protein for his post-workout meal. So he's getting 150 grams of protein a day. He weighs a little over, he weighs about 160. And then his carbs, I have him at a 1-to-1 ratio there, but I have his fats at 180, because I want his body to clearly see that he has more dietary fat than he does carbs to be able to consume. So this is my master plan to get him transitioned from for using like Lola, your approach of paleo being a stepping stone. I love how you said that earlier, between a standard American diet and a meat and salt diet. So he's excited about the idea of meat and salt, loves it, but is just really worried about those first couple of weeks. So we're going to ride this out for a couple of weeks. He's already says he's feeling great and getting good workouts off of it. So in terms of what he's eating, he's starting off with bacon and egg yolks, no whites, just the yolks, sweet potato, and some honey. So those are all animal products besides the sweet potato, even though the honey's carbs. And then same idea after his workouts, similar foods. And then for dinner, he's doing pork sausage, cheese, and an avocado. So that's kind of like the stepping stone that that we're going to do for the next couple of weeks. And then the plan is to start gradually cutting out carbs, replacing those with more dietary fat, watching that fat number close with his body composition. So if he gets fluffy, then obviously we need to back that number down a little bit. And then probably have him start supplementing potassium and magnesium a little bit harder as he gets rid of those sweet potatoes, because he's going to miss those electrolytes. What do you guys think?
I like that. I like how it's still mostly animal based.
Yeah.
But except for the avocado and the sweet potato, everything else is animal based.
Yeah.
That's
and I would just say, Did you say he weighs 150?
Let me double check. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's at 160.
He's at 160, and his protein intake is what?
I got this all written down here. He's taking in 150 grams of protein a day.
And how much does he weigh?
Double checking that right now. Sorry, so I totally have everything written down in my journal, guys, but my journal is not the most organized thing because you never know when you're going to get thoughts or when you get a good joke or something, or when you got a or when you get a good business idea. I mean, that's all stuff that you have to write down. But yeah, let me grab it here just one sec. Okay, sorry about that. This gentleman, let me pull up a spreadsheet. Obviously, this part will be edited out.
Is he I mean, because if he weighs 150 pounds, that's very lean, isn't that, for a guy?
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that
So
very
I'd be a little bit concerned about his weight. If he's very, very low in weight and he's only eating pretty much his body weight in protein, I think that's very, very low.
Okay. You know what? Oh, I bet it's still on my calculator. I can find it here.
Oh yeah, the body weight's not on there. Oh, it says at 174.
174 grams of protein.
Oh yeah, it's on the right. You're right. There it is. Okay. So I'm gonna get his personal information now. So that's definitely not on the screen. Yeah, okay. So he weighs 174 pounds.
174, and his protein intake then is what does it say on that?
150. And he's cutting, right?
150.
Yep.
He's cutting. Okay, he's cutting. Perfect. Okay, so is he doing a show? When is he doing a show?
July 22nd. It's going to be the
Okay, so yeah, I'd say the protein is perfect. So I don't think there's anything you need to change. If he's cutting, then yeah, that's perfect. I wouldn't change anything at all. And then what I would do though is I would just time his carbohydrates around his workout if he is going to add those carbohydrates in.
Yeah.
I think he only needs the carbohydrates pretty much before his training or even after training. It depends on what his body is used to. If he feels he gets any crashes before training when he eats carbohydrates, then I would have all his carbohydrates in after workout. But yeah, either pre-workout or post-workout, I would add the carbohydrates in if he needs them.
Okay. Yeah, because before and after his workout, he was having oatmeal, and he was. I mean, it's not a straight up standard American diet. I mean, he's like eating reasonably healthy. So these are all the carb sources that we're trying to go away with. You know, like white potatoes and stuff like that. Replacing those with sweet potatoes, keep that inflammation down. So he's got 70 grams of carbs pre-workout, 70 grams of carbs post-workout, and then he's got no carbs with dinner. That's where he gets most of his fats in. And so let me run this one by you guys. Say he's still hungry before he goes to bed. I'm thinking that's just a time to eat like a little more cold ground beef or something, to where it's not going to stimulate your appetite, but it'll give him a little bit of extra fuel, and then he can go to bed with a smile on his face. What do you think about that? Is that good advice? Or
what I would do is I would actually push that meal probably to about 2 hours before he goes to bed. So that means he's completely full. Okay. But if he is dropping weight, and obviously he will be hungry if he's dropping weight and he has a show in a few weeks' time, there is going to be a few uncomfortable moments. But what he can do is he can push his fast probably to later on in the day. So that means he feels like he's eating a lot more food than later on in the day, if that makes sense. Yeah. So instead of eating 3 meals, he could probably push it into 2 meals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that means he's not thinking about food all the time.
Right.
Because I think hunger, a lot of times, hunger right before bed is mostly habit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if you were to like say lower the food down from say pre-workout to post-workout and really go to town on his evening meal, I think he'll be more looking forward to that. because he'll feel that you feel like I can get away with eating the pre-workout and post-workout, and I can drink an awful lot of water during the day, keep my electrolytes up, and then at night time I can really have a big massive feast, and I can go to bed then happy, and I'll have good sleep, because if his sleep is getting interrupted, which it will, if the leaner he gets, then obviously that would be a concern, because obviously if he's getting very, very lean and he's not focusing on his sleep, that's going to have a major impact on his performance then in the gym. So you want to make sure you're monitoring that as well.
Yeah. Awesome. He's on Instagram, by the way, for everybody, at Holden, at Holdsendy, HOLD SENDY. I'm gonna double check and I'll edit that out if he's not cool with that. But I mean, he's doing a bodybuilding show, so, and he's on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it. But I would say if he's doing a show, I think he's better off than just doing probably 1 or 2 meals a day, similar to what you're doing, Coach. Like having a big massive meal a couple of hours before you go to bed. You're going to go to bed satisfied, or have 2 meals a day. Probably have one that's like a smaller amount during the day, and just to keep you going. Pretty much after training, have it maybe some protein and a little bit of carb and whatever. And then at night time, then really go to town then on those fats and proteins, and add the salt in, and then add the magnesium in as well, and that should help you then sleep then like a baby.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe that pre-workout meal should kind of be the first one to go, and then once he gets used to training fasted, then he'll that I think that'll be a real practical way to be able to speed things up in terms of getting fat adapted and into ketosis. And he's kind of a big lunch guy too, so but the big dinner, I mean, that's going to help him get into ketosis, because that's where he's getting all the fats in. So, yeah. I
mean, if he is getting hungry throughout the day, well, then I would have a talk with him and try and eliminate the carbohydrates, because that's probably what's increasing his appetite, the carbohydrate.
Yeah, and
I would say
he'll be able to. He's a young guy with super high like natural testosterone levels and everything. I mean, so I think his body will just soak all this up for a bit. I'm not worried about pulling carbs anytime soon. I mean, as long as the scale is going down and he's looking good and feeling good, then I don't know. It might be like halfway before we pull him out. We'll see.
And if he's comfortable with what he's doing, then there's no need to change. But if he is getting extremely hungry, that'd be the first thing I'd be saying to him. Like, listen, okay, let's decrease the carbohydrate. Let's increase the fats. That means you're going to be satisfied. You're going to be full, and we should be okay then.
Yeah, and do that as long as it works, and then just start replacing those carbs with fats, even though the calories are technically going to increase. But I'll make $100 bet with anybody that thinks that'll make him fat, because it won't. He'll keep dropping weight if we do that. I guarantee it.
It won't, because when I remember I spoke to Jonathan about this a few weeks ago, and he was telling me on his first prep, I think he went down to like 2,800 calories or something like that to get really, really lean. And on the second show, he got lean at 3,600 calories.
Yeah. I got peeled at 2,300 calories my last show. I had to get all the way down to 1,800 calories, and I made my eating disorder 10 times worse when I did my first show before hiring coach, because I had carbs.
Exactly. Yeah. So I honestly, I would just say to him, listen, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you getting hungry? If you're getting hungry, okay, what about if we just take the carbohydrates out? Let's increase the fats, because we're not focusing on calories here. We're focused on body composition. You'll still look very, very lean. If anything, you'll probably look even leaner. You'll look even tighter, because we're taking the carbohydrates out. So you're going to be eliminating water. So the water is going to be coming out of your body. So you're going to look extremely ripped when you get on stage. So I would say at this stage now, if he's happy and he wants to cut those hunger signals straight away, let's take the carbohydrate out straight away. And if he does want to have a little bit of carbohydrate before his workout, I would say let's just focus on something that's very, very small. Maybe a handful of strawberries, a handful of blueberries. I would have that literally an hour before you go training. And then for the rest of the day, then it's just back to basics, fats and proteins, and no more carbohydrate.
Good stuff. Thanks, man.
Because we don't really, when it comes to the carbohydrate sources, we don't need anything else except probably, as I said, if you are going to add them in, I know Robert's a fan of probably putting in some like fibrous carbohydrates, like a little bit of vegetables here and there. But other than that, like if your body doesn't need,
yeah, that's the old Robert. If you ask him now, he probably wouldn't do it that way. 2 years ago,
yeah. So just focus on just increasing the fats, and the protein. I think the protein's okay. Just increase the fat.
Yeah, good stuff.
That's it.
Cool.
He doesn't want to be in a situation where his testosterone is going down and he's feeling like shit. And if he is starting to feel like shit, then obviously that's going to have a major impact for him when he gets on stage also as well, because his cortisol levels are going to go straight to the roof.
I think we could all agree that to best optimize your diet, whether you're paleo, whether you're meat and salt like we are, or whether you're keto and you like to have salads or whatever, that the higher your dietary, keep that dietary fat as high as you possibly can at all costs. Yeah. Protein, okay, have as much protein as you need, but you don't need any more than that. Have as much carbs as you think you need, or as you're okay with having until you are not consuming carbs anymore. But do whatever you can to keep that fat number up as high as possible, and that'll make everything 10 times easier.
Exactly. Yeah, and because when you look at people, when they say to you, like say, okay, you need a percentage of say protein or fats, but the only problem there is if you say to somebody, okay, you need to have like 70% fat and 30% protein, that's okay. But what happens if that person goes to the gym regularly and they're lifting weights? Well, then obviously that 30 grams of protein, or that 30% of protein, is going to be increased. So it's probably going to go up to 35, 40%. So you're probably going to be eating more protein. Your fats will still be very, very high, but what will happen is your protein will get very, very close to your fat intake, which is good because you're trying to maintain muscle mass. And obviously in the bulking season, you want to make sure, obviously, your protein levels are high. And then when you're starting to go into a deficit, you switch that around, you bring your protein down a small bit, but you make sure the fats are really, really high. So the best way to judge this is just by looking at the person and say, okay, how do you feel first of all? Do you feel good? And then is the body fat dropping? If it is, sweet, we're perfect. Because that's what it comes down to. It doesn't come down to anything else. The body doesn't know anything else. It doesn't know anything about calories. It doesn't know about anything about percentages. All the body knows is just mass. That's it.
100%. Thanks. Wow. You know what? I'm super glad that you're way over in Ireland, because your microphone is definitely on fire, and I'd be singed if I was close to it. So, corny dad joke of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That was so well said. No, I agree with 100% with everything. Yeah. Well, cool. How much does Mr. Holden owe you for that, sir? Cool.
No, I hope he does well. I hope he does really well.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be posting his whole journey, I'm sure. So, all right, everybody, follow Holden, follow Isabel, follow Coach Mark, Isabel, Lola, Isabella. I'm sorry, whatever you typically go by on a first name basis.
I usually go by Lola, but Isabel's good too. I like Lola as my favorite.
All right, it says Isabel on the screen, so that's why I said it.
Oh, yeah.
Where can people go to find you right now? What's the hottest platform that you're putting out the most content on at this moment?
That would be Instagram at Paleo Lola.
Good stuff.
I also have my the link tree on there with my Calendly link, so they can book a free consultation. And then I have Facebook at Paleo Lola also. Actually, Facebook's Isabel Lopez. But I do like Instagram way better. So if you guys can find me on Instagram, that's where I'm at.
I'm with you too. Yeah, Facebook is yesterday's news, right? Who's even on Facebook anymore? Mark, what about you, bro? Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. So if you have any health issues, PCOS, thyroid issues, I'm the guy for you. I'm kind of known over in this country as the habit guy. I look after mainly women in this country. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Fitness Beyond Time. That's where I'll be.
Yeah, I heard there's a new podcast coming out too called Carnivore Coaches Corner or something, right? Are people going to be able to find it?
Absolutely, and it's been going very, very well so far, I heard.
Yeah, we haven't officially launched the actual podcast yet. We've been doing some live Q&As, everybody, and so stay tuned. Got something really, really exciting in the works. I'm just going to leave it at that. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us on episode 132. Catch you on the next one. Much love. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.